we are doing a Grace and Gavel content stack when assumptions become the story. Everyone thought they knew what happened. This is concerning Brandon Lawson. One of the most fascinating things about unresolved cases is how quickly people decide they understand them, sometimes within hours, sometimes without all the evidence. And once a theory takes hold, it can become incredibly difficult to separate fact from assumption. Let's talk about fear versus paranoia. Fear is when you have a legitimate fear versus when someone is paranoid. When someone is paranoid, they may be struggling with a nervous system issue. They may be struggling with a psychotic break. They may be going down a rabbit hole that doesn't exactly exist. Maybe they think certain circumstances are true, which are essentially fantasy, right? And the public interpretation wants to say that this person is paranoid, or they're crazy, or they're having a psychotic break, or they're not with reality, or they have some sort of mental illness, right? Additionally, the 911 call analysis, a lot of people thought that Brandon Lawson was paranoid because he indicated that there were 2 cars near him in which he was feeling like he had been bumped and that he was in potential danger and he wanted the police to be dispatched. There's also the idea of a cognitive bias, or some people may call it confirmation bias, where someone looks at a situation and is looking for something that will confirm their opinion of the case. From an attorney perspective, I think it's extremely important to stay out of the weeds, to stay out of conjecture, to stay out of things where there is no reasonable conclusion for the conclusion that you're drawing, right? And ultimately, a gut feeling is not admissible in court. A potential theory is not necessarily admissible in court unless it can be proven. Additionally, evidence versus narrative. A narrative is not the end-all be-all. The evidence supports that narrative. That is another thing. But if the evidence doesn't support the narrative, then it is what it is. It's just words. It's just verbiage. It's just unnecessary noise. So, part 2. The cases where human behavior became the mystery. So, for instance, Patricia Meehan, Maura Murray, Brandon Lawson, all 3 of them were in car accidents. Maura Murray, for instance, was the West Point student in New England who had actually had several issues. For instance, there was an issue like a potential honor code violation coming up. She was struggling with her boyfriend. I think she had packed up some of her things, as well as an issue with her sister. She'd already wrecked her dad's car previously. She had withdrawn money and had credit card misuse or something along those lines. And so she had told the bus driver who was going to give her a ride back home, or give her a ride, that she had already made contact with someone. However, there was no cell service, so clearly she didn't make contact with anyone. But there was a brief period of time where she was there, and then suddenly she was gone. Patricia Meehan had the accident, I believe, in Wyoming. Everyone said she was acting off. She was acting strange. This was in 1989. She walked away, was not seen again, and was never conclusively found. Brandon Lawson, as we talked about, Brandon Lawson was the one whose 911 tape is on YouTube. If you want to listen to it, a lot of people hear different things from it. And so ultimately we have to ask ourselves why some people walk away. Some people can walk away because a car accident can be an extremely difficult emotional experience. Maybe they have a break at some point. And so they walk away because they're stressed. They walk away because they're afraid. They walk away because of a head injury or a hallucination or any number of things where they think they're in danger, as well as witness interpretations. Sometimes witnesses see things a different way, and no one behaves the exact same way, case over case over case over case. And oftentimes witnesses think that they're skilled at interpreting witness behavior. Person's behavior. Oftentimes they're a little off. And there's a lot of psychological ambiguity that people aren't attuned or trained to fully understand. Their stress responses. And ultimately, unresolved cases grip us because our brain does not like unresolved loops. So thank you for tuning in to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. My name is Buffy. I'm an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney. And if you got value in this, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I have 2 podcasts. One is Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress, which is a psychology channel. And the second one is Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion, as I'm an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney. And I hope that you'll come back and see me again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.